Welcome to the Show Day podcast. Today is July 24th, 2019. Last night saw one show on the schedule, an open class only show in Niagara Falls, New York. Tonight we have 3 shows on the schedule. One in Denver, Colorado, where corps in the western part of the United States, open class corps, will wrap up their tour tonight, with the exception of Gold. And then also we get to see world class corps in action in both Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and also Little Rock, Arkansas. So a big day ahead, a big night tonight on the DCI side of things. So let's dive in with a recap of last night's action. Last night, that show in Niagara Falls, New York, was the prelude to Drums Along the Waterfront, the event that will take place August 4th in Buffalo. Rhythm at the Rapids is what this one was called. We had 6 open class corps here once again: the Spartans, Legends, Southwind, 7th Regiment, and Heatwave. When we look at general effect first, with the Spartans coming out on top with a 29.9, we see a large part of their overall margin over the Legends coming in general effect. Legends with a 28.9. 1.2 back of the Legends is Southwind at 27.7. Their final score, a 26.4 for 7th Regiment in 4th place. Heatwave comes in 5th in general effect, a 22.9, and the Lace Centaurs put up a 20.8. Looking at visual proficiency then in the visual caption, very tight at the top. We see the Spartans come out on top in that sub-caption with a 14.2, but not far behind is the Legends at a 14.1. Third place in visual proficiency is 7th Regiment, 4th is Southwind, 5th is the Light Centaurs, and Heatwave comes in 6th. So a lot of mixing up in the visual proficiency sub-caption. When we look at visual analysis, you have the Spartans in 1st, you have Legends 2nd, Southwind comes in 3rd, 7th Regiment in 4th, Heatwave comes in 5th, and Light Centaurs in 6th. When we look at color guard and then the overall visual total for the evening, first, the first place in both color guard and visual, but more specifically color guard for the moment, Spartans come in first, a 14.5, Legends with a 14.1. Third place in color guard goes to Southwind, a 13.6, 7th Regiment in 4th. Les Centaurs in 5th and 11.1, and Heatwave comes in 6th, a 10.9. Looking at the overall visual scores, Spartans still a wide gap over the Legends, 6/10, a 21.7 to a 21.1. Southwind in 3rd, a 20.1, an exact point behind the Legends. 7th Regiment in 4th, a 19.95. Les Centaurs jump Heatwave in the visual caption, a 16.6 to a 16.2 for Heatwave. So definitely the Les Centaurs doing well in visual for what the core is at this current moment. When we look at music here, there's 2 battles I want to look at, and the first one is obviously at the top, Spartans versus Legends. We've seen the Legends doing good in music, and really the Spartans running away with the general effect and visual captions. So when we look at this battle between these 2 at the top, look at brass first. You have the Legends at a 14.3 to the Spartans 14 even. So 3/10 up in brass is the Legends. Spartans come out with a very high or very big margin over the Legends in music analysis. 6/10 of a point of 15.2 to a 14.6, and that 15.2, that is a high score. That is a good score for the Spartans. And then also in percussion, you have the Legends on top by 2/10, a 14.9 to a 14.7. So even though Legends come out winning brass and percussion, it's still not enough to knock off that Spartans lead in music coming from music analysis, a 21.95 for the Spartans to the Legends 21.9. And then the second battle is Southwind versus 7th Regiment here. You see Southwind on top in brass by 3/10, a 13.2 to a 12.9. Music analysis, 7th Regiment jumps Southwind there, a 13.8 to a 13.4. And then in percussion, you have Southwind on top once again, but it's only by 2/10 of a point. And then how does that end up overall with the overall music score? You've got Southwind at a 20.2 and 7th Regiment at a 20.15. When we look at the overall scores for the event, we have the Spartans on top once again, a 73.55. Legends almost breaking 72 at this one, a 71.9, their final score. Southwind comes in third, a 68.0. They're exactly 1.5 ahead of 7th Regiment, who comes in fourth at 66.5. Heatwave comes in fifth, a 56.55. That score actually goes down from their most recent score in New Hampshire on Saturday. And then Lace Centaurs in sixth, a 52.65. Looking at the world-class leaderboard after, not necessarily last night's action, we didn't see any world-class scores in action last night, but after Monday night's action, kind of looking forward to today. You see the Bluecoats, they've put up the highest score to date at a 91.55. Blue Devils a 91.175. Both of those scores came Monday night in Mesquite, Texas. Santa Clara Vanguard, they have not competed since Saturday night in San Antonio, the first regional of the season, of course. How will they come out tonight? Could they shoot up the rankings? We'll see them against the Bluecoats, which I'll talk about in a minute. But they've had kind of their own practice facility in Benton, Arkansas for the past few days. It's like an indoor practice facility. Not the whole thing, but part of it is like they've had the resources to be building on this show in the early parts of this week, as well as to make changes and additions to this show that really could get this the 2019 Santa Clara Vanguard back in that championship contention, something I think not too many fans right now are considering is a Santa Clara Vanguard championship. And it's rightfully so. Like, we're not used to a corps making up a point to the top of the leaderboard in a few weeks. After San Antonio, everything usually stays in line, and for Vanguard to make a jump, they're going to have to make those changes, and if they do make those changes or have made those changes, they're going to have to debut them soon because time's kind of running out. I mean, 2 weeks from tomorrow is prelims, so really time's running out there. So I spent a lot of time up at those top three talking about them. When we move farther down, this whole battle between Crown and the Cavaliers and the Boston Crusaders, really, I don't know if anyone knows how this is going to end up. Again, another corps we haven't seen in a few days is the Boston Crusaders since San Antonio on Saturday. I'm sure they've made changes. They're going to have to put on some new stuff in that show because it's just not working what they've got right now. So they can place as high as fourth. I could see them slipping down to sixth, though. And we also have this big battle: Blue Stars, Blue Knights, Cadets, Mandarins, Crossmen, maybe throw in Phantom, maybe throw in Spirit into that, depending on how things shake out. I don't know about those last two, but definitely those other corps are all battling really for that seventh spot, then like a cutoff at ninth. It's just really crazy right now in that 7 through 11 battle. Looking at the open class side of things now, after tonight, every corps that does not go to championships, with the exception of Encore, everyone's tour is ended. So after tonight, we just have 14 corps touring, performing, etc., and also Encore, but they only have 2 more shows, and they are very regional shows. So Blue Devils beat Vanguard Cadets. Very good seasons. That's behind us. They look like they're going to be returning to championships next year. At least that's what rumors swirling about say. But I think that obviously it's great for those performers to do that. But when we're talking competitively and talking about competitive storylines and stuff, it's not always every day I want to talk about Blue Devils being Vanguard Cadets. But of course, whatever those two organizations decide to do, I'm sure at least the majority of the Drum Corps fan base will approve of. So those two are sitting at the top. They're going to sit at the top. I mean, they're still going to finish top 5 probably when we look at everybody by the end of the season. This next group though, so when we look at this overall leaderboard, this next group, Gold, Spartans, Legends, 3, 4, 5, which is actually 1, 2, 3 when we look at this in the championship context, they're very tight. And even if Legends doesn't get up there, Gold and Spartans are still going to be very tight for the rest of this season. You see Gold, we'll see them tonight in Denver. Spartans and Legends, their next show is Sheffield, Pennsylvania on Friday night. So that group of three I've been saying all season, and many are kind of recognizing it now too as the season's been moving along, that group of three there, we're going to be watching them for really the rest of the season, and especially come championships. The next group, and this is a very wide open group, is this Golden Empire, Southwind 7th Regiment, Louisiana Stars, River City Rhythm, maybe throw in a corps like the Guardians or Shadow. But this is this top 8, and I think the top 8 are very much decided. You see Gold, Spartans, Legends, Golden Empire, Southwind, 7th Regiment, Louisiana Stars, River City Rhythm, and could someone else slide in there? So I think we're talking more of a top 9 or 10 when you throw the Guardians and Impulse, or Guardians and Shadow rather, in there. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Shadow. This season they only have one show, but it was a very high score that they put up. They return to action Friday night. Tonight, 3 shows on the schedule. First up, the Mile High Showcase in Lakewood, Colorado. This is in the Denver area. That's what they're advertising the show of. It's actually just about a few miles from Mile High Stadium, where, of course, Drums Along the Rockies is held every year. And, of course, Mile High, you're getting where that's coming from. So 5 corps in attendance at this one. We see Impulse, we see Vessel, Watchman, Gold, and the Battalion. Battalion, Watchman, Vessel, Impulse, as I have stated, they wrap up their tours this evening. Very successful tours that all of these corps had. Vessel, like, think about this. Vessel is City Sound, and remember what we used to see of City Sound. They'd be the likes of Incognito or Blue Devils be at the bottom of that open class, leaderboard, and now we're seeing them, the regroup they've done over the past, I guess you could say, 6 or 7 seasons since City Sound went defunct. Now they're back as Vessel for the last 2 seasons, and especially this season, really are doing well, and I'm excited to see what they bring in years to come. Of course, I don't want them to overextend what they're able to do. I don't want them to go to championships if they cannot go to championships on a reasonable budget, I guess you could say. So if Vessel decides to do this regional tour, if they decide to go to championships in coming years, that's all up to them, of course. But they do seem like they've had a very successful 2019 season. Impulse, after a very rough, I guess you could say, 2018, they bounced back pretty well this season. And really, the Watchmen have done good too. These two have kind of been at the bottom of this group of 5 here. So those two, again, good things coming out of them, and I'm excited to see what they can bring in the coming years. Gold, we'll see more of them for the rest of the season, really. And the Battalion, an awesome season. Look for their first 70 tonight. Their first 70 in corps history, season history, whatever you want to say. Battalion definitely heading in the right direction. If they decide to go to championships, let's say next year or the year after that, or whenever they would decide to do that, they'll be in a good position. Definitely could contend for a championship, at least I think. And the last thing I want to say with this show is Gold. Of course, they're the only corps in this group of 5 that's going to championships. Gold, they have this show tonight. They'll head to Cape Girardeau, Missouri for a show on Friday night then. The second show tonight, ECI Southern Mississippi and Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Lots of competitive storylines at this one and at this second show I'll go over in a minute. This one we see the Seattle Cascades, Troopers, Madison Scouts, the Academy, the Mandarins, the Cadets, the Blue Stars, and the Blue Devils Blue Devils' performance will be followed by a brief encore, and then scores will be announced. What are we looking for here? Troopers versus Madison. We saw Madison defeat the Troopers on Saturday in San Antonio. We saw the Troopers defeat Madison on Monday night. Who will come out on top tonight? Big margins in both of those, especially Monday night. We saw the Troopers up by a whole point. So what can happen with those two tonight is definitely something we'll be watching for. Academy. Nobody wants to rule any corps out of the finalist contention, but sometimes you have to. The Academy, they seem to be sticking in it, but by a very, 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 very slim margin. So if they can really, if they can make some more changes, I know they've changed like half the show, but if they can make some more changes and also perform better, add some better design stuff in the show over the next 2 weeks, they'll be right in a position where they want to be. I'm expecting them to put up a score tonight in the likes of like a 79.3 or something like that. But if they could hit 80 tonight, that would be a big confidence booster for the Academy. Also, we're looking at this Blue Stars Cadets Mandarins battle, and the Mandarins closed in on the Cadets the other night. It was just 7/10, and the Cadets also close down the Blue Stars a bit on Monday night. So what will happen with these three? What are the margins going to be? What's the order going to be of the three? All stuff we can look at tonight. And also the Blue Devils, can they keep gaining? Can they hit 92 or 93 tonight? If they can do that, it's obviously we're not ruling the Blue Devils out of championship contention. We've obviously learned not to do that. But if they can continue this upward climb, it sure seems as though they are putting themselves in a very prime position to contend for their 19th championship in 2019. The third and final event tonight is ECI Arkansas in Little Rock, Arkansas. The facility is the University of Arkansas Little Rock War Memorial Stadium. Bluecoats have been here rehearsing. They rehearsed last week at this event prior to the Katy show, and now the past few days they've been rehearsing here after Texas tour wrapped up. So, what are we looking for here tonight? We see Jersey Surf, Music City, Colts, Phantom, Crossman, Blue Knights, Boston, Cavaliers, Bluecoats, and Santa Clara Vanguard. Competitive storylines to follow here. Jersey Surf and Music City. Jersey Surf pulled within a point of Music City on Monday night, something we really did not think we'd see coming. Jersey Surf, they've struggled over the past few seasons. Music City seemed to be hitting a stride, especially after last season, and it's actually turning this season. We're seeing Jersey Surf with a very successful season for what they've got, and then also Music City, they are they're kind of struggling a bit on the scoring recap. We've seen them get defeated by Genesis, and now Jersey Surf is pulling in on them. So that's kind of what we're looking for with those two. Can Surf close in on Music City at all? Phantom Regiment, they need to start gaining. I'm kind of skipping the Colts for right now because there's not really anything they're going after at this show. But Phantom, you see them here. They need to start gaining. They need to hit an 81 or 82 tonight. They need to pull in on the Crossmen because it's just really, they're down in this finalist bubble thing with Spirit, and I'm sure nothing would please Phantom more than to get out of that, than to keep defeating Spirit by 2 points. But what we're seeing is Spirit's actually gaining in on them. So if Phantom can hit an 81 or 80, they have to hit 81 tonight. I mean, they've been in 80 for like a week. So if they can get 81, 82, 83 tonight, that is good for Phantom. And then also the Crossmen. I'm kind of thinking to the future with them. For later this week. I'm saying that the Crossmen need to be closer to the Blue Knights than Phantom Regiment by Saturday, especially if Phantom's still down in that finalist bubble with Spirit. Crossmen's got to pull closer to the Blue Knights than they are to Phantom Regiment by Atlanta on this Saturday. Also, Boston Crusaders and the Bluecoats, could we see changes coming to those shows? Obviously, everybody wants to see the changes. Will they add them in now, especially Boston? They've had a few days off and rehearsing. Bluecoats, they've had a day or two as well. So can they make those changes and put them in tonight? And then also, can Vanguard close on the Bluecoats? Vanguard, another corps that's had a few days of rehearsal prior to DCI Arkansas. So, a few more things today. Just thank you for watching. Just a few things. Make sure to visit my website, drumcorpscentral.weebly.com, for all the latest updates from the ECI and ECA summer tours, scores, schedules, leaderboards, and more. And I'll be finding my own personal website about all things drum corps. Make sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Drum Corps Geek, and subscribe to the Show Day podcast on YouTube, where this podcast and more will be posted. Finally, leave your thoughts in the comment sections, questions, input, comments, etc. would all be greatly appreciated. Today, big night. We've got those 3 shows on the schedule tonight, 1 more tomorrow, and then a very intense weekend of competition, obviously on the world class side of things, also open class corps. This weekend, join together corps from Midwest, join with corps from the West, and corps from the East over the coming days and weeks. So really just season's coming to an end very, very quickly. It seems like just yesterday we were talking about like the summer music games in Cincinnati and Rotary Music Festival in Cedarburg, Wisconsin. Just those events at the end of June, beginning of July. But now it's July 24th, 2 weeks from today. The corps will be loading into Lucas Oil, and we'll be seeing their final performance, 3 performances of the season. 2 weeks from tomorrow, DCI World Championship prelims. Can't believe the season's coming to an end so quickly. Thank you for watching. I'll be back again tomorrow, recapping tonight's action, taking a look ahead. So have a great rest of your day.